All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Hello and welcome to the Midwest Formula One Division 3 Championship. It is round 8, and what a race this is going to be. We are here in wonderful Suzuka. It is time for the Japanese Grand Prix as we are just about set to kick off our short qualifying session. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Fallen Monkeys, back here in the commentator's booth, back at my roots here for Division 3, but I've got a special guest here in the booth with me. It's the one, it's the only, the Monkey Mafia here in the booth. Now, the Monkey Mafia, as we're jumping in, getting ready for the session, how you doing this evening? Excited for the racing action we've got in store for us today?
Yeah, definitely. Japan brings some good racing. Be interesting to see. There's some good storylines going here as we're approaching the mid-season, so excited to be in the booth to do some of this. Get a break from my racing this week, so we'll go to Japan next week there in D2, and well, how about
my
that? Some rain in
goodness.
qualifying, and it's heavy.
I think you were talking about this too. You had a little bit of a bold prediction that out of, I think it was the four divisions, at least 3 we're going to see some form of race. Can't speak for the other divisions, but here we are, and by race I mean rain, and yeah, there is lots of it here on track, at least for qualifying. We'll see if it'll convert into a wet race. Now, I'm looking at the tires. Everybody's at least starting with the intermediates. At least looking at the pit lane, it looks like there's a lot of standing water there, so I don't know if that's the best call, but I guess I do trust the choices here. But, I mean, as the first few drivers are heading out on track, I'm seeing a Williams just leaving the pit lane here. So what can you tell us here about this wonderful track here at Suzuka?
Well, I actually just got an update. Looks like they have a 90% chance of rain for the whole race, so it looks to be fairly heavy. I believe we are going to see a very interesting race. I thought it was going to be interesting before the rain was there. You know, there's a lot of guys that don't even practice rain, don't have rain setups, anything like that. Be interesting to see what they can do, because Japan is definitely a tricky one when it's wet. I actually have a race win at Japan in the wet, and it was purely a survival. A lot of guys wrecked out, and so that's kind of what you have to do here. Hope you just survive. Starting in the back might not be a horrible thing in this case.
No, and that's like you mentioned, the key here is survival, especially in a track like Suzuka. I know we were talking about it here in the pre-race. Going through the S's alone could be the demise of quite a few drivers, and of course a lot of these high-speed corners. One of which that we're seeing K-Dog go through right now through the onboard. This very high speed, or normally high speed, right-handed corner that goes into Spoon. I figure here in the intermediate tires, in the wet weather tires, must be very easy to lose the car. And of course, I mean 130R, which is generally taken flat out. That's of course the next corner coming up here, which could be a little bit more tricky than what it normally is here for a lot of the grid and a lot of these drivers. But honestly, I'm excited to kick things off for real here, and as K-Dog is coming through the final chicane, I'm going to give everybody a bit of an onboard here of the Suzuka circuit here for this first lap. So K-Dog, as she's going to take us through it. I'm still seeing a lot of puddles here. I still don't know if the intermediate tires are the best choice. It almost looks like we're in between that intermediate and full wets. But as K-Dog is coming through turn 1, you can already see the challenging conditions taking a toll. Much slower than usual, and through the S's, I think the key here is really to keep your revs as low as possible, because when you get the revs high, that's when you risk really losing the back end, spinning out the car, and that's something you're seeing K-Dog do very well, just shifting very early up the gears, keeping those revs low, keeping that car under control through a very challenging Sector 1 here on track. Now,
Definitely. The one thing I'll say as I'm watching K-Dog is I don't see a lot of spray coming off the wheels. It seems like maybe the puddles are off the racing line a little bit. not a lot of spray back as more cars are going out, pushing that water around. I think the intermediates are going to be the way to go now.
Yeah,
The first couple laps, though, is definitely keeping it clean and not wrecking.
Oh yeah, and I hadn't really noticed that, but you bring up a good point about the spray, that it's really almost seems non-existent on those tires. And the more I look at these puddles I keep bringing up, the more it does all confirm what you were saying, that they look to be just off of the racing line. So I think as long as the drivers can just stick on that racing line here, which generally I think shouldn't be an issue here in qualifying, they might be fine with the intermediates. But back around the final chicane, that final corner now for K-Dog, we'll get the benchmark time here for a lap of Suzuka. It's a 1:43.8 as the time to beat. Now, if I'm gonna try to find somebody else, who's on a fast lap right now? Let's try to see. Not on a fast lap. That's JST in the Red Bull, who seems to be probably the first of many to make friends with the wall here in Suzuka. Just exiting Dunlop. Probably one of the trickier corners there, getting back on track, but with no front wing. That's going to be a long ways back to the pits. And meanwhile, his teammate, championship leader so far, Mitch Burns, with a 1:40.3 in the Red Bull, taking that provisional pole and looking to extend the championship lead here. Looking at the drivers' standings, a very close battle here at the top. Mitch Burns, 343 points, and Pork Chops right behind him in second with 312 points. So between the two of them, it's still anybody's to play for, as we've hit, I think, the midway point of the season here in Division 3.
Yeah, definitely this is the halfway mark. I started the promotion and relegation numbers this week, and I think just looking at that, Capital 58 is the guy I'm watching today with SZ Smith out. He's down by 43 points. He could make up a good chunk of that here and get himself into that final promotion spot. With Mitch Burns, leading the way. Pork Chop's right behind him. I've been kind of harassing Pork a little bit about being Mr. I don't need a podium. He's on a top 10 streak to start the season, but he has 0 podiums. He's been there almost every race.
I mean, definitely a time to get one here in Suzuka, or at the very least luck into a podium. Now, we got a great view here of, looked like that was an Alpine, might have been, no, not Humble, no, that's the Williams of Humble Hippo, but one of the Alpines had a little bit of a moment on the exit of the hairpin there. Looks to be another tricky spot on the circuit here in qualifying. Capital had an invalidation on his lap. I think that was through spoons. So unfortunately, here for that first lap, not going to count. Is going to have to go around again. Thankfully, and this is maybe a bit of a blessing in disguise for some of the drivers, if you can keep it clean, if you fueled up the car a little bit more, you can run a few laps at a time here in the intermediates. Now, I mean, the Monkey Mafia, I'll be honest, you're a bit of a pro here when it comes to wet weather running, as from what I've seen, as you've mentioned yourself. Is that a strategy you like to go for here? Just overfuel the car a little bit, maybe run 3-4 laps at a time, or do you still prefer the traditional 1 to 2 laps at the most, low fuel, back in the pits, rinse and repeat?
Oh no, definitely overfueling. Probably shooting for about 4 laps is what I'll do, because you can do a couple 4-lap runs. It's to me it's better. You're not wasting time on pit road. Really, intermediate tires aren't burning off that fast, so you can run 4 laps and be consistent on all 4. So that's how I'm gonna go about it. I know a lot of guys don't do that.
No, we're on the same page. Maybe it's that. The tiny monkey brain that's talking here for us. But I'm a similar strategy where I'll like to run 3, 4, 5 laps at a time, because I almost feel like the intermediate tires, they get quicker the more laps you run with them. Maybe it's placebo. Maybe it's just I get more confident after running 3-4 laps at a time. Maybe I find the groove, but I always feel like I'll just get quicker and quicker and quicker. And even during the race, when it's a full wet race, I almost don't ever want to take a pit stop, because by the time I'm feeling at my most comfortable on the tires, well, I got to put a new set on, and all of a sudden, well, my pace just falls off a cliff again.
Yeah, definitely. It's they last forever.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're really with the intermediates. When it's wet, if it's gonna be wet all race, I'm just gonna pit maybe under a safety car. Otherwise, I think most tracks you can almost take them all the way. They really don't fall off.
No, they.
But while we've been chatting here, I noticed ZGS got the pole with a 140.2.
Yeah, it was
about a half second.
I was just about to mention that. Yeah, I mean, ZGS, I might call him ZGS, just different areas of the world here for us.
Yeah.
But he is sitting on that provisional pole, just beating out the time set by Mitch Burns. But going just a little bit faster is Evil Prime in that wonderful looking AlphaTauri car with a 140.181 here on, well, look at that, 2-lap old intermediate tires. So already it looks like we're getting close to the sub 140s here at the top. Do you think anybody is going to go fast enough to maybe break into those? So much for that, because Texas Speech just called me out on that. So he is going to be the first driver to break into the sub 140s, smashing that with a 139.619. My goodness, what a lap time that was there.
Yeah, if it means anything, I was going to say yeah. I think the track's going to get quicker. I think we could see close down to even a 139 flat even yet. As it goes here, rain seems to be steady, so I'm going to guess they're going to clear off some of this water, and they'll knock off some more time off those. One of the other things I was going to say, Evil Prime there in P2, he's a new to D3. He got promoted last week, or in between the races here, from the Red Bull in D4 to the AlphaTauri in D3, so he's moving on up, doing a good job, and he's been running well. Actually won the D3 race last week in a reserve role.
My goodness. So already a race winner here in Division 3, and here so far really handling the very tricky conditions seemingly with ease here, really showing that he belongs here in the grid with Div 3, really earned that promotion, did Evil Prime, and making the most of it here. Now, who was that? That looked to be a Mercedes that was having a little bit of moments. I can't find him on the track, so I'll just leave it the way it is. It might have been Nico, actually. I think possibly just getting out of the way, letting some quicker drivers through. As those who are used to my comms, I always get a little excited, a little bit worried here when I see yellow flags on the track, even with qualifying, until I realize it's just traffic sorting itself out here. So, the Monkey Mafia, if you're not used to it, you might end up having to get used to it here for the next 6 minutes and 20 seconds or so that we've got left in qualifying.
Hey, that's better than how I do qualifying. I did comms last night for another league just for a fun race, and I noticed how bad I am in qualifying because I don't watch what's going on so much. I'm talking about the drivers, and then I look down, oh, hey, somebody set a new lap, and oh, hey, there's a yellow flag. Yeah, I missed the majority of stuff in qualifying, so just noticed Capitals onto the wets here in P5.
Look at that. Yeah, I didn't even see that as well. I didn't even see that either. Now that you mention it, he is still sitting in the pit lane, though, so I'm not too sure if he's...
Trickery.
A little trickery, maybe a little bit of contemplation, maybe he feels that he's kind of stuck in that in-between spot as well. Not too sure if he wants to give a shot here. He's sitting in P6, so if he's willing to take a gamble on the wets, he's in a good position to do it, even if it's just for a lap or so. But he's going to have to make his mind up soon, because with qualifying ticking down here, with 1 minute and 40 seconds roughly a lap time, multiply that by, let's say, 3, really you might only get one more lap, 2 more laps at most here, if I'm just doing a little bit of quick math here. About 6 minutes to run, let's say, an out lap, a flying lap, and then an in lap. So really going to have to make his mind up sooner rather than later. That was, I think, JC who just crossed the line to go up into P3. Yes, that was the Red Bull of JC, actually out-qualifying his teammate here temporarily, although Mitch Burns is running a lap, and a faster lap at that, so I'll stick with the Red Bull of Mitch Burns to see if he can improve. But, JC learning from that mistake previously through Dunlop, and putting up a pretty banger of a time here in the low 140s.
Definitely, he's one of those, is when he's on, he's up there. He's just had a lot of bad luck this year, the couple races that I've caught. Just always seems to be the wrong place, wrong time, but he's definitely a contender to get up there. Right now, he's about mid-pack in the points.
Yeah, but
But
if he can get that luck sorted out, with half a season to go, I'm sure he can probably soar up the timing tables. Meanwhile, as I jumped over with Mitch Burns, he was going faster on a lap, and he actually finished that lap fastest overall with a 1:39.4 now, as that is the new time to beat, with Mitch Burns retaking that provisional pole position away from text to speech. Now, of course, we'll have to see how everybody else is going to respond. The likes of Evil Prime, text-to-speech, still sitting in the pit stops. ZGS, I think, I'm not too sure what the call is there. I think really trying to have a little bit of fun here. Showing a set of slick tires, still sitting in the pits. I really don't think he's going to leave the pit lane with those tires, but I mean, crazier things have happened in league racing, and just a little bit of a refresher here, or a retune-in, I guess I should say, on Capital. He gave it a shot with the wet tires, and just from the little bit we saw, I don't think that was the right call. It seems like we're definitely more in intermediate tire conditions rather than the full wets. Really sliding around there on those wet tires was Capital. Now, Shelly the Turtle up in P3 in the Ferrari. I haven't shown much of Shelly here on stream and qualifying, but that Ferrari, the Ferrari driver putting that car way up the grid here when it mattered most. Third driver now to break into the sub-140s, only just with that 139.9. So love to see a Ferrari up here in the top three, but we'll see if it's enough to stay on that second row of the grid, or even if he can find a little bit more pace and maybe put that on the first row of the grid. And
retirement.
Yeah, that looks to be, I think that's the Mercedes. Yes, that is the Mercedes of Nico there, who just on the exit of turn one, I think might have lost the back end, maybe put a little bit too much power on that on the exit there, hit the wall in the wrong spot, and unfortunately for Nico, that's the end of his qualifying, maybe a little bit earlier than he was hoping for there.
Yeah, definitely. If you get on that outside rail coming out of that corner on exit, it is a tough one in the wet. Really easy to spin them, and really you're carrying good speed through there. You're going to that wall and not likely to finish.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, definitely not. Especially with a lot of these corners, the walls are a lot closer than you'd like to think here. And when you're going at the speed these drivers are, it's you're almost just hoping for the best, just hoping for the car to hit the wall in that right spot that just doesn't knock the tires off. But unfortunately, it was not the case. I do see Unholy Red Eye also out of qualifying. We are approaching the end though, and I'm not seeing another car left out on track. So I think that was in the pits for Unholy Red Eye. Just with a minute to go, doesn't have enough time to set one more lap, and going to settle with P7 at best. So we'll see if that'll hold up here, as the track is looking very busy with drivers getting their what I can only assume is going to be their final flying laps of the session here, as we're down to the final minute of qualifying. And I think through the sense of urgency, nobody's feeling it more than Kaz here, who has got 30 seconds to go, coming up to the hairpin, no time on the board on his outlap, and I'll be honest, I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get that lap in here.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one. I'm actually right along with Pork here. He's going to be the one to watch today. See if he can continue that top 10 streak.
Well, here let's give Pork a little bit of love here. Down in P13, which is not I don't think it's the spot we're used to seeing Pork. So we'll see if he can find a few more tenths of a second, or even a full second if he can here, and try to leapfrog that car. And that is the end of qualifying. So for Kaz in the McLaren, unfortunately, it was not meant to be here in the intermediate tires. Will be starting from the back of the grid in P20 after being unable to set a time, but approaching 130R here is Pork Chops. Shelly the Turtle is actually sitting on provisional pole here right at the end of the session, just eking out the time set by Evil Prime and Mitch Burns here. Let's see what Pork can do. Almost looked like a tank slapper there on the exit, but still very good lap up to P5 now for Pork Chops here. And now with the laps dwindling to a close, let's see how the order's going to shake up here. I'll switch back over to ZGS here on the stream as he's approaching the end of Sector 2, taking about half a second off that lap time here, so it's looking to be a good one. But oh no! Through 130R, goes for a slip and slide there. Thankfully keeps the car... Sorry, what was that?
Spoolin just jumped to P5.
Look at that. While that was happening...
down, I believe, about P15 right there before that lap, so... Huge jump. I think the track's drying up a little bit.
It looks like it. Either that or just with the sense of urgency, everybody on track really creating a good racing line. Even Wild Maida goes up to P5 now, just beating out the time from Spool and Dub.
Capital coming around here was over 1 second up on his lap. He's going to jump up. Didn't see where it was.
No, but
I'd say he was in that top 5 area also. It was a 139.
139, so let's see where that puts him here. Is it going to flash? No, it's not going to flash like it did in the previous game. But let's see. Where did he end up here?
P3.
P3, that's why I couldn't see him. I was looking around P5, P6, but no.
Look at that difference between 1 and 2.
Oh my goodness. So... There you go. I mean, Shelly the Turtle snagging pole here at the Japanese Grand Prix, so really showing some pace in that Ferrari, just eking out by, what is that, a 1/100th of a second from Evil Prime, and Capital rounding out the top 3. I won't go through the whole grid just yet, as it looks like time is dwindling down, but I'll go through, well, at least show it up on screen. 19 out of the 20 drivers getting a lap time set. Kaz, like I mentioned, just not getting to the line in time when he needed to. No time. He's probably going to have the hardest... honestly, the hardest race of every one of them here, having to go from the back of the grid in these types of conditions. I mean, not easy in the dries, even more so difficult here in the what looks to be even worse conditions here in the race.
Those puddles are even bigger this time.
And I thought the rain in qualifying was bad enough, but this is looking like a sheer downpour. I mean, obviously not affecting the marshals on the pit wall there. They don't need an umbrella, but I think I'll be honest here. I'm happy I'm in the booth here under the ceiling here, nice and dry, because it is looking to be very tricky conditions here for the drivers at the start here of this race. But I mean,
Definitely.
now with qualifying come to a close, jumping into the race here, what should we be looking out for here?
Well, it's just keeping it clean. Turn 1's going to be brutal. Just making sure that you're going in there, keeping your room. No reason to push too early in this rain. Put yourself in a bad situation, lap 1, 2, just absolutely no point for it right now. It's keep it clean and just keep going. Got to finish the race in order to do anything. I was going to ask you, what do you got for blind podium predictions on this one? You don't know a lot of these guys, but
blind podium positions. Oh no, you're really gonna do this to me here. So I'm gonna preface this just by saying apologies to the drivers, who I am inevitably about to commentators curse.
I already told him I was doing it to him, so.
Oh, there we go. All right, we'll just double it up in that case. But here, I mean, honestly, I gotta go with the way he's been looking in qualifying. I gotta go with Shelly the Turtle somewhere on a podium in that Ferrari. I mean, Pork, of course, he's looking strong, always in the top 10. Doesn't have that podium yet, but with conditions like this, if he can keep it clean, I think this is a fantastic race. He can get a podium. And I mean, with the way Mitch Burns has been, from what I've seen, from what I've heard through the season so far, I think he's going to be my final podium pick, in no particular order, of course.
Definitely. I was watching him as they pull off here in the formation lap down the front stretch, and the puddles are crazy. I mean, there's puddles all the way across the track. This is going to be an interesting start to this race. I'm with you, though. I think Pork, it's definitely a spot where he could get one. As long as he can manage the S's for all the laps. That's his kind of his breaker. That's the spot that I get him if anywhere does. If he can survive it, he's getting a podium, I think, here. And then I'll I'll go with text-to-speech and probably Shelly. Those are actually different than what I put in my weekly predictions, but after seeing qualifying, seeing it's wet, I'm going to change it up a little.
All right, and worst to worst, we've just got a few more drivers. We've just gone in commentators cursed, so it'll be great. It'll be fine. But
hey, that's what I'm here for.
Oh yeah. Now, as I was looking here, even on the formation lap through the S's, and I mean, I do have to agree with you here very quickly that keeping clean over the course of the first lap, the first 2 laps, until you find that groove in the full wets is going to be key, especially through the S's. I mean, I say it all the time, the race is not won in a lap, but it can definitely be lost in a lap, and I think this will be a prime example if it does happen. And I mean, Shelley, who was leading the way on the formation lap, looked to have had a tank slapper going through the S's there. So if that's what we're seeing here in on the formation lap, it's a little worrisome as once we get to actually green flag racing and full speed for the drivers. But almost looks like a little bit of mind games here in the formation lap. Shelley's already essentially taken his spot on the line. Meanwhile, the rest of the field, Evil Prime just coming through the that final chicane here, just coming around the final corner. So for Shelley's tires, they're going to be getting really cold, sitting on that grid spot for a lot longer than the rest of the grid. So we'll have to see how that's going to affect his possible race start here in these full wet conditions.
Definitely. Got a couple more disqualifications there coming through that chicane. K-Dog and Nico look like they may have made contact. You're far enough into the lap here, you should be okay. And actually, with the rain, the cold tires won't hurt as much, I don't think. Really, on a formation lap in this much rain, you're not getting much heat into them anyway.
Oh, no. No, but I like to think
Shelley
any little bit
got
helps.
the most because he went flying.
No, that's true. I mean, I like to think any little bit helps, but as the drivers have lined up, we are just about set to go. Up to 3, 4, 5 red lights. And the lights are off, and we are racing here in Suzuka, as it looks to be a pretty decent start for a lot of the grid. A little bit of contact there off the line from the Mercedes with the Red Bull, trying to fight for grip. Looks like that's an Aston Martin, I think, that had a bit of a moment. Tim Lee with an early mistake. A little bit of position changes here through the S's. Unholy Red Eye getting ahead of Mitch Burns. K-Dog having a little bit of a moment through the S's as well, I think. She's falling down a couple positions down in 18th, but it looks like for the most part everybody getting through the early stages of the lap relatively cleanly, keeping close together. So good job from the drivers there, getting through the probably the hardest sector of the track, going through sector 1 through the S's here on lap 1 with these cold tires.
Yeah, definitely keeping it. I mean, just a couple bit of contact. The thing with Tim Lee, from what I caught, looked like he just got a little wheel spin, probably going into third, and it cut left on him, and he bounced off somebody. I didn't see who that was, but tough luck. He'll probably have to take a pit here, I would imagine, get a new wing and get going.
I think so, and now I'm seeing here in the back of the grid, it looked like a K-Dog and Kaz are having a little bit of a battle here. Kaz trying to work his way up the grid, but unfortunately going very deep on the corner of the hairpin there, so lost out not only on that position with K-Dog, but also opened the door for Racing Ginger to get ahead as well. So a little bit of progress lost from Kaz. We'll see if he can gain that back. A little bit further up the grid, you can see text-to-speech putting a lot of pressure on a Wild Maida here for that P4, nearly bumping into that rear diffuser into the braking zone there, showing how difficult it is to get get that car stopped. What's happening here to Unholy Red Eye, going very slow through the chicane, and that looked to be who was that there a little bit behind? I think that was D&E Nico that went a little bit off the track there through the final chicane. Now the Monkey Mafia, were you able to see what happened there in that final chicane of the first lap, or did you not see too much?
I wasn't. I was actually on with Evil Prime. I'm just kind of watching this battle up front right now. So I did miss that one. I don't know, maybe he was trying to get into the, preparing to pit anyways, or did he get that wing contact there? Do you know? Nico, that is?
That I'm not too sure. If I switch over just very quickly into the pit lane, as I'm just want to see how that pit stop was looking. It looks to be relatively quick, so I think it might have just been a change of tires. Meanwhile, though, at the front, right as I switch back over to them, Shelly the Turtle down in P3, I think went very deep through those two right-hand corners. Evil Prime Capital getting ahead, but now it's a drag race going into Spoon here, just about, as I think that was Evil Prime that went a little bit deep. Capital temporarily took the lead of the race. Evil Prime, though, finding the traction and taking that lead right back. So into Spoon, it's now Evil Prime leading, Capital in second, and Shelly now down in P3, and with a Wild Maida and Texas Speech, who are still continuing their battle very close. Maida, I think, might just go for a move here on down 130R. He thought about it, but just the opening just wasn't there for Maida through 130R. But we'll see, maybe going into turn one, there might be a bit more of an opportunity. Of course, here in the full wets, there's no DRS that'll be activated. We won't see that rear wing open up, so it's going to rely on a lot of ERS management here. But crucially, in the full wets, your ERS tends to recharge a lot quicker than you can actually deploy it, at least in my own personal experience here, racing in the wet weather conditions. But oh no! Yeah, just saw that there in the corner, bringing out a yellow flag, falling down a couple positions, spooling down in P10. Thankfully, though, it doesn't look like there's any wing damage on that car. It's looking
he did a heck of a job to save that.
Oh,
he was sideways coming out of that corner and just brought it back, just missed the wall. I just cut off of it right as it happened. But yeah, he's good job of driving there, keeping the car clean. Now he can just roll back up. Drop to P10. Hurts, but not that bad. Just keep rolling. I've raced with Spoolin quite a bit, and he can be a very consistent driver, so he'll bounce back from that.
Yeah, but meanwhile, a little bit further up the field, we've got, it looked to be a two-car battle at first. Now it's a bit more of a four-car battle here between Shelly, a Wild Maida, Texas Speech. Pork Chops is now involved, as now Texas Speech going side by side and just gets ahead of a Wild Maida. Finally, the Mercedes driver can say got ahead of the Alpine, who was putting on a clinic defending early on. But for Maida, he can't breathe too easily now, though, either, because he's got Pork putting a lot of pressure, but Mitch Burns also following closely behind, waiting for an opportunity to strike here on Pork. But I mean, so far it's been great battling, great racing here from the front of the grid. Now it looks like near the back, around the hairpin, there looks to be a little bit of a holdup here with two cars. I think that's K-Dog and Nico having a little bit of a moment there. But now what's going on with JSD and Dead Text Message? They both fell down the grid. I'll get back to that in just a moment, because we got a side-by-side battle. Texas Speech now getting ahead of Shelly the Turtle, going up into a podium position here, up into P3, into turn one. So saw the opportunity, made the most of it. And here in these type of conditions, this is exactly what you have to do. You want to be patient and wait for that opportunity to come to you. But, oh no, hang on a minute, that's Pork Chops here. The commentator's curse on my end, hitting very early here. So, Pork, I'm sorry in advance, as he, I think, lost it in the S's and finds himself down in P14 now. And really going to have his work cut out for him.
What was that? Kept the wing on, that's crucial. Oh,
very crucial.
Again.
Oh no.
But the wing's still on there. Just get it back turned around. There'll be a safety car to catch back up. So I wouldn't think we'll get through this without a safety car.
Oh
so
no.
All he's got to do is get going.
No, definitely not with the way these drivers are battling here. It almost looks like it's a dry race with the battles we're seeing here, especially with the mid to upper pack here. From essentially, it looks like from P5 all the way down. And oh, now that I'm saying this here,
safety car.
Well. You called it. I wasn't expecting it to come out that quickly, but I mean, you called it for the safety car.
Debris then, because I don't see any cars out. So
no, it doesn't look like it. I mean,
looks like that'd be a good break for K-Dog if she had to pit again.
Yeah,
so she'll be coming around here and get to come back to the back of the field. That's good.
Yeah, that's going to be crucial for K-Dog in getting back into the race. Pork as well with those spins. He's also sitting in a little bit of a no man's land, but they're all going to be able to catch back up to the back of the grid. and essentially we'll be restarting this race from scratch here. Well, relatively, generally speaking here, but I mean, honestly, it's been a great first few laps here. Tons of action here on the on track. Couple lead changes here. It looks like Shelly the Turtle, having started from pole, a costly mistake. I think it was on lap 3, if I recall correctly. Losing out on a few positions, but with the safety car, it gives them a chance to maybe recompose, refocus up, and just come right back at them here once we do go back to green flag racing, I would think.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be, they were showing there some hard racing, but patience. I saw guys taking looks, realized they didn't have it, getting back in line. I like seeing that. That's good to see, especially when you're running 10 cars all divided by a quarter second to a half second each. I mean, it was good to see. There was lots of good battles there, so.
Oh yeah, and that's the key there. It's really the patience that we're seeing from drivers. I mean, just because the opportunity is there doesn't mean it's still going to be there in half a second. And in conditions like this, like any racing, you've got to be certain that move can be done, or else it could end poorly for not just the other driver but for yourself too. If that window closes quicker than you might have expected. But
yeah, definitely, especially when they're running that tight, if you're at the front of that group and you make contact and spin, no ghosting, you're collecting more than just 2 cars in that.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, but of course now here with the safety car, you got to think too that I'll be honest, drivers like let's say Nico here is a little bit further behind. Did text message Tim Lee, K-Dog, the drivers near the back of the field that need that extra time to catch up to the rear of the safety car queue. In a situation like this, I mean, this is going to be a bit of a bold call here, but I'd like to think they might have a bit more of an advantage once we do go back to the restart compared to drivers near the front like Evil Prime, like Capital, who've been stuck running at that, as far as an F1 car is concerned, snail's pace under the safety car, just compared to those near the back that are able to run at a little bit of a higher speed, are able to get a bit more heat in those tires. And in conditions like this, I think keeping your optimal temperatures on those wet tires is going to be key to success, because you're going to get the better grip, you're going to find that better traction, and with traction already lacking here in these very full wet tire conditions, you'll need all the traction you can find here on this track.
Definitely. K-Dog's fun coming out of the hairpin there. Knocked the wing off. She'll have to pit again. So
oh no.
Having a rough time. Just keeps getting worse. But once again, we're in a safety car. She can get in, get that pit stop done. Hopefully the safety car doesn't go in without her. I had that happen to me. Was that last weekend? I was about a lap down anyways. I had to pit. And I ended up pitting again just to switch my tires around. And I never got a chance to get back to the safety car. So sometimes it's a danger that you deal with if you're the only car back there to start without you sometimes.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too. I feel like a lot of times, or at least from what I've noticed, the safety car tends to only stay out for about 3 laps or so at the most, until Bert Weilander decides, you know what, enough's enough. I'm bored. I want to go back into the pits now, and we head back to green flag racing. So we'll see if that's the case here, and I think that's just a sort of fail-safe, so we're not stuck running, half the race, 3/4 of the race under safety car, just waiting for a car or two to catch up. Because even now it looks like most of the grid is caught up, but thankfully, knock on wood, of course, it looks like the safety car is... Are the lights still on here for the safety car? Yes, okay, they are still on. I think it will be going around for at least one more lap, which, should allow Racing Ginger to catch back up to the grid. K-Dog, I think, is going to be a little bit more close. She might need to pump out a bit of a flying lap here to get caught up. But we'll keep an eye out on that, as, of course, here... starting lap 7 under safety car, which could be we could maybe see 1 or 2 more laps here under safety car before heading back to green flag racing. I don't know why that word was just so difficult for me to find there.
Yeah, it happens.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I would
nothing.
imagine. I don't see why the safety car wouldn't come in here after this lap. So I think Racing Ginger is going to catch up. I think K Dog will be a little bit behind. Just keep her head down and go though, because another safety car will come out.
Oh yeah.
Keep yourself on that lead lap. That's the main thing.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, you said it. I do think there's going to be at least another safety car that'll come out. I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, safety car came out here, but I'm surprised here that we still have a full 20 driver grid on all things considered. Not, I mean, not to take anything away from the drivers, but more just the track conditions that really are prone for bringing out mistakes, and even the most skilled of drivers. So just still having that 20 driver grid is a little bit shocking to me here. But honestly, just makes for better racing here once we do end up going back racing. Now,
Yeah, definitely. I think if you ask the drivers, they'd agree with that comment too. That there's no way they thought that after 7 laps there'd still be 20 on the grid. So.
No, I mean, honestly, I mean, if I was driving here, I would have said no, because I would have ended up in the wall about 4 laps ago, I think. But we'll
I'm jealous. I hope it rains next week for the D2 race.
There we go. I mean, I'm indifferent. I'll be in the booth there for Div 2, and probably I mean, shouting either way. I'm a little bit indifferent when it comes to the rain when I commentate. It makes for exciting races. And speaking of exciting racing, safety cars coming in this lap, so we'll be able to go back to green flag as Evil Prime becomes essentially the de facto safety car. Everybody following suit behind, and it looks like not really sticking single file here, almost trying to go 2x2 through that final chicane. Generally doesn't end too well, but it looks like they got that sorted out. But now around the final corner we go, back to green flags now. Evil Prime got a good start, Capital as well, but meanwhile further behind, it's looking like the gaps are closing up. None more than Spool and Dub, who got a fantastic restart, putting pressure on ZGS. Disgruntled Muppet, I think, lost out a little bit on the start. Ray, I believe, as well, going into the first corners. But now already Kaz working his way up the field. Tim Lee not having the best of restart, losing 2 positions there into turn 1. But once again, on the safety car restart through the first sector, through the S's, looks like everybody's making it through relatively cleanly here. So drivers still keeping that patient mindset in these full wet conditions to really just go for the move when the window of opportunity opens, and not try to force anything here just quickly off the restart like we tend to see a little bit more in the dry conditions. Ooh, Maida almost losing the car, riding the curb on that hairpin, but keeps that under control, and is also able to keep Mitch Burns behind him and build a little bit of a gap going into Spoon here. Text-to-speech though catching up to Capital quite a bit. We'll see if the move can maybe be done here. I don't think into 130R, but maybe into turn 1 here on the start of the next lap. As now we're seeing the time penalties start to fall here. Do you think we're going to see a lot of them here today for those time second penalties?
I think you'll see some. You'll probably have over half the field, I would imagine, will probably get them, but I don't think they'll be too excessive like they are at some places.
No, we'll hope not. As hang on a minute, here comes Porkchop as he tried to send one into the hairpin, or not the hairpin. Oh no, into the final chicane, but that was Humble Hippo going for a spin. I'm not too sure if there was contact there from Porkchops, or if that was just a spin on itself. We didn't get the best of angle, but for Humble Hippo, he's fallen down the grid order. Meanwhile, Porkchops in a very heated battle with Nico, who's starting to find some pace here in that Mercedes. Got ahead of Porkchops through into turn 1, and now through the S's. Porkchops gained a positions, but then lost it about a corner later to DNE Nico, who's now in P13. Porkchops in 14 still, but I think still staying very patient. Does have his teammate behind him for a little bit of support in P15, and we'll see if the two teammates might. We'll see if they're going to battle, or if they're going to try to work together maybe to close up this gap and get some double overtakes here, working their way up the field.
Got a three-way battle up front right here. Capital, Texas Speech chasing down Evil Prime as they're coming around Spoon. This is, I just jumped over to it, and they were just on top of each other, but once again, keeping it clean, being patient, not making a move if it's not there.
No, and I think that's Racing Ginger here in the background that brought out a yellow flag going through the hairpin. And in these full wet conditions, it looks like the that hairpin corner is probably the trickiest corner on the entire circuit, just because you're taking it at such low speeds, trying to work your way up the grid, trying to work your way up the gears. Excuse me. It's just so easy to lose the back end of the car. But back to this battle here, nearly side by side, are Texas Speech and Capital. Texas Speech though having to slot himself behind the Aston Martin though, going into turn one, trying to ride that slipstream. But with no DRS to work with here, only battery, it levels out the playing field and really makes these overtakes that much more challenging and that much more reliant on the exit of the previous corner going into the straight here. And I think Capital just got that slight better exit and thus was able to keep that P2, while Texas Speech has to settle for P3 while he recomposes and tries to come right back at him.
Yeah, actually, Capital got a little bit loose coming out of the last corner, so I'm thinking Texas Speech must have a high downforce, a lot more downforce than Capital, because he had a run and just seemed to die out down that front stretch.
Yeah, and meanwhile, I mean, just looking at the other battles, ZGS is essentially stuck in a Ferrari sandwich right now, trying to get out of it, though, as he's still side-by-side with Shelly the Turtle. It's a drag race now, but with that inside line, it looks like for the moment, ZGS takes that position, and he does get ahead into P6. So Shelly the Turtle continuing the fall down the grid here, down in P7. So I'm not too sure if he's maybe keeping a little bit in his back pocket, but now being overtaken by his teammate here, and it looks like that's Unholy Red Eye coming at him here with force. Shelly just defending, putting that car in the right spot. But oh no, there was contact there, and that's Unholy Red Eye into the wall at 130R, spun the car around, and that is gonna bring out another safety car here for Unholy Red Eye, who keeps the car controlled. But yeah, now everybody's diving into the pits. So for Unholy Red Eye, it's going to be a wing change, but not going to lose out on as much as he might have initially thought, given that everybody else has taken the opportunity to get that fresh set of boots on as well.
It looks like maybe Nico and Mitch maybe got crossed up there coming through the safety car. I just jumped down with Port to see if he was going to pit, and those two were trying to let each other by. They got it sorted out, though. See a couple of these guys not pitting. The front three were past pit lane when that came out, so we'll see if they pit when they come around. I honestly think staying out here is the way to go. These safety cars are saving tires. No reason to come in.
Well, no, unless you're just really not feeling that set of full wet tires and just got to get them off. I have to agree with you. I think staying out is the better call. And I mean, it goes back to what I was mentioning in qualifying, that I feel with the intermediate tires, with the full wet tires, the more laps you do, the more comfortable you start feeling on that set of tires. I mean, they don't wear out nearly as quick as the slick tires do, but so you can ride them much longer. You don't need to take that pit stop after 9-10 laps like you would with the slick tires. But you might be able to enlighten both myself and maybe those watching at home here. When you're in the full wets, are you able to do that coveted no-stop strategy, or are you still forced to take at least one pit stop?
I think you can. I think you could almost do it in the green, with green all the way. But we've had two safety cars now. I'd imagine at least one more, maybe two. Definitely can make it from here, I would think. And I think you're going to see at least a couple guys try it. Trying to go for that bold win or podium, get those points. I think we'll see probably 3 or 4 people try it. Honestly, I think Pork will be one. If I remember, Evil Prime's pretty good with tires. And Ray's he's been out a couple weeks, and he's just looking to jump back and get himself a good finish. I think he was telling me the other day he's raced 2 times since he's been back, and he's DNF'd in both. So he's looking for something big here. I think he's going to take the chance.
Yeah, I mean, so far so good for Ray, as he's running in P4 just outside of the podium here, but looking to be in a bit of a prime position to maybe attack them too. But he does have the championship leader Mitch Burns right behind him in P5, who's probably got a little bit of plans of his own here to try to extend that lead, especially knowing and probably seeing that his main rival Pork Chops is just 2 positions down from him, down in P7, with only what looks to be a Mercedes separating the 2 drivers here on track. So I mean, if Pork can get by Dini Nico, which I think is going to be a challenge in itself, to seeing that Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo duke it out, battle it out here on stream or on the track in these full wet conditions, I think that's going to be a sight to see, regardless for what positions they're battling it out for.
Yeah, definitely. And just jumping back over here on the promotion relegation battles. So down on the bottom for the relegation, ZGS is down. He's 83 points out of getting out of relegation. So he's looking for a big in P12 right now. Noganator's out tonight, so that's going to be a tough one. He's 48 out. Dead text message sitting in P9. He's sitting good. And they're chasing Ray, Spool and Dub, Knuckles, and Hammer. And I know Knuckles is out tonight also. Tim Lee in his spot. So the points with people, a couple people missing, and a couple of these guys are going to make up some good points today. I think it's going to make these points even tighter than they already are.
Oh yeah, and I mean, with already being at the midway point of the season here, I mean, after this race, half your races are gone. So half the total points you can get are essentially over and done with. So for those battling for relegations, the time to step it up is going to be now, or if not now, very soon. Or else,
no, it's now. Safety car in.
Oh yeah, well definitely now for this race here, safety cars coming in. I almost didn't see that, if I'm being honest there, but coming around the final chicane there. Oh my goodness, that was Evil Prime looking to go a little bit deep there, trying to set up that line, but that's going to make a little side-by-side battle here between Capital and Texas Speech just about, as they're going to be battling it out going into turn 1. It looks like that did get sorted out. Meanwhile, Dini Nico got ahead of Mitch Burns to go up into P5, so now the Red Bull finds himself just ahead of Pork Chops here on
Capital and
track.
Texas Speech just side by side through the first part of the S's.
Oh, here we
and
go.
Back of the crossover. These two are going at it. I'm telling you, Texas Speech is going to have to make the pass in the corners. Oh, a little contact there. It looks like Capital sliding.
Oh
looks
my
like
goodness!
Ray got into him.
Oh
Good
my
save.
goodness, that looked so much worse than I thought it was going to be. I thought that was Ray in the wall right then and there in Dunlop after that massive tank slapper with the contact. But
and Ray didn't. I thought Ray made contact, but he's still full wing. So up into P3 now with that. Capital with the tough there. They were side by side. To me, where from my angle, it didn't look like it was anything bad. Just hard racing, a little bit of contact, and he got sideways. So he'll fight back. Good saving.
Yeah, it was a good save, but I mean, for Ray, I think that's a good save, at least from my end. That's an understatement and a half. There is, I thought that car was just done. Like, I thought that was gonna be the next safety car right then and there, just to clean up that Haas. But no, Ray says not today. Continues onwards in P3. Does have a little bit of a gap to close, but he's already slowly working on it here. It was down to 2.2 seconds, 2.3 now, but it looks like we'll see if he can work that, close that gap up a little bit. Meanwhile, Kaz finds himself up in P10 here from the back of the grid. Does take a bit of an interesting line to get past Spool and Dub there, as I think he was really extending those track limits as much as he possibly can. There goes Spool and Dub taking that position right back. So I think I'm not too sure if Kaz knew it when it happened or not, but they're in a very, very heated battle going through the S's here. Are we going to see another side-by-side battle here for the Ferrari? Now the roles are reversed. It's the Ferrari of Spool and Dub who's in a McLaren sandwich here with Kaz ahead and ZGS behind, trying to get ahead of Kaz, but Kaz is just putting that McLaren in just the right spots to keep that Ferrari behind him there. So a good defensive work from Kaz here as he hangs on to that P10 through sector 1, and looks like that's going to be but there went dead text message.
DNF.
And that's going to bring out the another safety car here.
There we go.
So I think that's the third one, and here we go. 14 laps in, it's the first DNF we've seen here, and that was a dead text message through. Oh my goodness, I had the track map open and I just completely closed it on me through the Degner curves. That looked to be on the exit at turn 9 there as I pull up my cheat sheet. Just on the exit under the bridge. There's no, I mean, honestly, I can't count the amount of times I've done the exact same thing that I can only assume dead text message did. Just a little bit too quick on the power, maybe taking that second right-hand corner, a little bit awkward there, not slowing the car down enough, riding that curb just a little bit, and just hoping for the best, but the best not coming.
And I was just looking here, it looks like that's the 4th DNF. So that's 4 out of 8 for a Wild Beta that he's, or dead text message, sorry, that's DNF'd. So that's tough. DNFs hurt, especially in the point system we have.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely not great here, especially 4 out of 8. That's a lot of points left on the board here. But we do have, I mean, I'll say a little bit of a situation here from what I'm seeing. With drivers taking a pit stop, I spy with my little eye DNE Nico and Kaz putting a set of intermediate tires on here for their pit stops. And looks like they're going to try to run here with the intermediate tires. Now, I mean, from this angle, I don't have the best view of the track conditions. Riding on board, it doesn't look like things have let up as much as maybe they thought of. But what do you think of this call here to go for the inters?
I think it's tough. That last safety car, I was thinking if I was towards the back, I would have come in on the first lap, throwing some inters on just to see. But now riding on here with Nico, and I'm going to say those aren't going to hold up. Unless he knows something we don't know, and that rain cuts out here real quick. But it's still pretty steady, still a lot of puddles. It looks like he's having a hard time under these conditions already. So I'm going to say that him and Kaz are, I think it's going to hurt him. I don't think that one's going to work.
Yeah, it might. I was riding with Nico. It wasn't looking bad, but it wasn't looking great either. A little bit of a moment from Nico on the exit of the hairpin, but whether you're on the full wets or the intermediate tires, that just goes back to you're riding a low gear, trying to get on the power as quick as possible, and it's just very easy to lose the car. But we'll have to see here. I think we'll get a better idea once we do go back to actual green flag racing where they stand out. But I think a lot of the grid here, I think a lot of the field is going to be whether it be actively or passively keeping an eye out on these two drivers just to see what the pace is looking like compared to what they've got on those full wet tires. Because if the pace on the inters is much quicker, then we could see a domino effect of everybody else diving in, and this could be a great call for both Nico and Kaz. But of course, there's also the other side around where it's not the great call, and they end up just having to take another pit stop here, which could very much so hinder the outcome here. With already only 11 laps to go in this Grand Prix, that honestly is just flown by. I thought I was about to say, thought we were only on lap 7.
Yeah, it's a safety car laps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say if the intermediates are faster, brilliant move. They're going to probably be looking at a podium for both of them. But if not, could see them dive back in here. I would think if they weren't confident in what they're doing, that they would have dove back in that last time around. And tried to switch them out. So apparently they think they're going to work for them, so they're going to keep rolling. And I see we have 4 up at front who have not pit yet.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that as well. That I think having given that they're both staying out here after that first lap on the intermediates. I think they're committing to that strategy, hoping for the best. And it could just be a situation here that, I mean, you've probably heard this message quite a bit, as have I, with Jeff kind of saying that, well, I really don't know which is the best tire to be on right now, so, I'll figure it out. You got this. I think.
Yeah, I generally, when it comes to the wet, I try not to listen to Jeff. I just try to go off of what I've learned along the way and how the track feels. I mean, he doesn't always talk about half the time.
No, but I think, especially when you're in that changeover period where, I mean, both the inters and the wets are running a similar pace, we could be in this situation right now that it comes down to personal preference. But I think we'll find out the results of the experiment soon, as once again we're going back to green flag racing as Evil Prime gets a fantastic restart here, already building a 2.5 lead to Ray. Meanwhile, Mitch Burns in third was chasing down Ray very quickly, 0.2 of a second behind, with Pork Chops in P4 on the outside looking in, hoping for that maiden podium here in Division 3. We'll see if he's got what it takes here with 10 laps to go to maybe snag it. But I'm very interested here in how Nico and Kaz are doing with those intermediate tires. So I'm gonna keep an eye out on those gaps.
Yep, I was just watching their position. They're in the same positions they started in. But Kaz has a 2.4 second gap now from him to 14th Wild Maida, so doesn't look like it's working for him. Nico seems to be holding okay though, holding right about 0.4 behind Capital, so might be working out for him.
Maybe.
We'll
I mean,
see
I
what
think
the rain does.
It does look to be at least artificially helped by this big midfield battle here that Capital trying to go the long way around the hairpin. And actually, what a move by Capital, making that work going the long way around the hairpin. You don't see that every day. But Humble Hippo, I think, struggling a little bit here with these full wets. Nico now right close behind. I think, I'm going to ride on board with Nico just a little bit here, just to see what the traction's looking like compared to Humble Hippo as they exit Spoon heading into 130R, and it's looking good for Nico. Alongside, this is where it's going to get a little risky here, but he makes it stick and gets well ahead of Humble Hippo here. And now finds himself very quickly in another battle here as Capital trying to get by K-Dog. Ooh, nearly a big moment there. Almost lost the car right into the pit lane was Nico. Keeps it under control though. But this battle looks to be just heating up as I think a lot of the drivers now with now 9 laps to go, I think they're starting to feel the sense of urgency a little bit. That patience we were talking about on lap 2, lap 3, I think is starting to turn into a little bit more desperation or a little bit more just chuck it in there and hope for the best now that the laps are dwindling down and the drivers are trying to get those positions quickly before the end of the race.
Yeah, definitely. It's go time now, so you're going to see these guys making a little bit bolder moves. But I do have to call out K-Dog there. You know, she was down to 20th, half a lap down after that one safety car. Now she finds herself in the top 10, so...
Yeah,
good
that's
drive back, good perseverance,
fantastic recovery drive from K-Dog, and I mean,
there's so many drivers retire after they have something like that.
Oh yeah, it's something that I mean, I'll be honest, it's a little bit of a pet peeve of mine, as I've always under the mindset of anything can happen. It's motorsports, but it's sports after all, and history has shown that literally anything can happen in any type of sport. So I've always been a big advocate of stick to it to the end. But hang on a minute. Spool and Dub getting ahead of Pork Chops there, just going into 130R as this battle here for P4, P5, P6, P7, and downwards is really just heating up here. Pork Chop seems to be trying to defend for his life on ZGS, who was trying to get around on that chicane, but just wasn't able to get it done. But now ZGS needs to watch out for Unholy Red Eye, who might try to go for a move here. No, Unholy Red Eye keeping patient, slowing that down a little bit soon. Gonna let ZGS maybe try to go after Pork Chops, maybe try to force one or both of them into a mistake, and Unholy Red Eye can capitalize afterwards on that there. But great, now I completely forgot my point I was going to make before that. It's okay, it probably wasn't that important anyways. But here we go. Now ZGS once again getting a run. He's on the inside of Dunlop, but now going to have to go through the Degner corners. Through the first one there. Pork Chops, though, found the VTEC in that Alfa Romeo, so to say. Just got ahead and kept that car ahead. But this battle is really heating up here as the laps are counting down. Meanwhile, Texas Speech getting ahead of Disgruntled Muppet, and Disgruntled Muppet, oh no, loses the car on the exit of the hairpin. Gonna have to get out of the way here. Oh, a little bit of contact there with oh my goodness, that might have been Humble Hippos. He's trying to get that car out of the way, trying to get not involved, but that car was just in just not a great spot, but does finally get that resolved. And thankfully, I think for Humble Hippo and K-Dog in the Alpine, I don't think there was any damage caused to their cars there, because with that very minimal contact, thankfully. But now Humble Hippo is chasing down a Wild Maida here, and
ZGS Pork Chops going down the front stretch. Going to be a close one here.
Oh, here let's switch over to it. I'll switch over to that right away. 2.5 tenths of a second behind is ZGS, heading towards turn 1 now. It's gonna be close, but not close enough going into turn 1. But with the onboard, the S's is really what could make or break here. ZGS is was looking confident through the S's 1 lap ago. We'll see if he can keep that confidence here. Nearly had a run 1 lap ago on Pork Chops. Meanwhile, what happened to Unholy Red Eye? He made a mistake through the S's himself, and he's down into he's down to P10. Sorry?
He was still spinning, just went into the wall now.
Oh no, and now he's going to keep falling down from bad to worse there for Unholy Red Eye. And if he lost that wing, that's going to be a long ways to the pits and a long pit stop. So really, really unfortunate for Unholy Red Eye there, as he was running so well. But it's one of those things where you've got to be focused for the full race, because one mistake can make or break this for you. Meanwhile,
Texas Speech taking a look out on ZGS.
Yeah, who was nearly into the grass. Keeps that under control. Yeah, very good save there.
He was done.
I was clenching a little bit for the Mercedes driver. I'm sure he was too. But now, with Texas Speech making that mistake on the grass, that now reopens the door for ZGS to go after Pork. But very crucially, though, doesn't really try to go for the move. Just was okay with sticking to that rear diffuser, going through 130R. I think he'd rather go for it in turn.
Oh no! Sideways.
Oh, he keeps
Pork's gonna have a gap now.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be
Texas Speech hunting him. Capital right behind him. They're really going to be battling here this last couple laps.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you're starting to see here, like we were mentioning, you're starting to see the sense of urgency a little bit. Pork going a little bit deep into turn 1, nearly opening the gap for Texas Speech, who chucks it into that first S there.
Good move.
And a fantastic move there. Honestly, I don't even know if Pork expected that to happen, because Texas Speech even shocked me going for it there. Into that first S corner, but got the overtake done
now.
Yep, and I'm not too sure. I think Pork is maybe starting to feel the cliff here on those wet tires. Keep in mind, he is only one of 4 drivers who have yet to take a pit stop. The other 3 have been able to hang on to the top 3 positions, but Pork
and those top 3 got a lot tighter in the last 2 laps.
Oh yeah,
there was about 2 seconds between them all. Now they're down under a second to each other.
Yeah, but I think Pork being stuck battling a little bit more in the midfield. I think he's found that cliff a little bit sooner, because now Capital right behind. Nico, though, now with those intermediate tires, is lurking, creeping up as a yellow flag comes out for Shelley, who I think might have had a moment through the hairpin. And I'm happy to know that my podium predictions are going great here so far. Danny Nico nearly chucking it down the outside of 130R on Capital. Just unfortunately, the track turned a little bit too much for him to get that to stick. So lost out on a little bit of time there, but heading down towards turn 1. It's another lap here. They're counting down, but we'll see if he's going to go for it here. Is Capital on Pork Chops. Very deep into turn 1, though, and that's a bit of a gift to Pork Chops there, who now doesn't have to worry as much as he might have been just a few seconds ago for that overtake. But you mentioned
Top three or nose to tail.
Yeah, you had mentioned it previously. I want to switch over to this battle for the top 3 here, because that was nearly a big tank slapper from Ray through Dunlop, through that Dunlop corner, that left-hander into the 2 rights now. I think Mitch Burns trying to go for it here. He's gonna have the inside line, but Ray just carrying a little bit more speed with the wider outside line. Almost looked like there was an attempt to switch back there for Mitch Burns, but Ray just keeping that under control.
Do is be patient. 3 seconds penalty for Evil Prime, 5 for Mitch Burns. So right now Ray would be the winner. So he's just got to keep it straight. Keep with these 2, and he's got it.
But meanwhile, Pork Chops and Capital were having a little bit of a battle here. Capital does get ahead after that drag race that we saw there. A fantastic onboard from Nico's perspective. But now Nico is putting a lot of pressure, but lost the back end ever so slightly going through Spoon. And once again, that gap is growing just a little bit too much, and he's going to have to close that right back up. But as far as Nico's concerned, being one of what is now one of 5 drivers on the intermediate tires, it looks like, as far as he's concerned, it looks to be the good call for him here. Oh, here comes Mitch Burns, though. Oh, I thought he was going to go for it down the inside of Ray into turn 1. Was not the case here, and I think Ray very much so aware of the penalty situation, and I think he's just, like you were mentioning, Monkey Mafia, just keeping pace with them, knowing that with the penalties, once that gets sorted out, he should be good to go. But meanwhile, what happened to Capital? He fell down a few positions there. Pork now back in P6, Nico in 7th. I think through the S's, Capital might have had a bit of a moment losing the car. Side by side now go Humble Hippo and a Wild Maida, and that was a nice move around the outside from Humble Hippo to get ahead. Now he's got to run on Capital, and Humble Hippo is flying here on those full wets. Gets ahead, so does Wild Maida, and what's going on with Capital? He's just completely fallen off a pace here after that moment, because that's Kaz, Maida, Humble Hippo getting by him with essentially with ease here. Oh, but very deep. Oh no!
Yeah,
a spin from Kaz. Capital gets back ahead. I think that was Maida or Humble Hippo that went very deep into the hairpin there, and that hairpin has just been a corner and a half to deal with, it seems, through the entirety of the race here.
Yeah, definitely. That's a tough one. You start pushing at this point, and you just find yourself in this wet. Once you're sliding, It's hard to save it. So it's good to see some of these guys that are keeping it going. But there's definitely been a lot of spinners, a lot of people taking advantage of that. Some watching Pork Chops here Texas Speech chasing Spoolin.
Yep, jumped on board here. Down the inside they go, side by side through into turn 1. It's a drag race into the S's. Who's got the bigger cojones here as they go side by side? Texas Speech, he gets ahead, but Spoolin Dub, though, looks like he wants to come right back at him. But unfortunately, a bit more of a compromised line creates a bit of a gap and just enough separation for Texas Speech to keep that P4 for the time being, but I think it's only going to be a matter of time before the Ferrari of Spoolin Dub comes right back at him here.
Oh, Ray runs wide, and Mitch gets past him there. He just ran a little wide, so now he's just got to settle in, chase him down.
Yep, a bit of a mistake there from Ray. But if I switch over to the penalties here, as long as Ray just keeps that gap, he should be good to go. Yellow flags here as that Spool and Dub going slow on the exit of the hairpin. Pork Chops gets ahead. Nico gets ahead as well as he's up into P5. Evil Prime had a big moment into Spoon corner. He's out of the podium now as he's trying to get back on track. Nearly hits Nico, and this is scary. Is just stuck in a very bad spot there.
For it.
Yeah,
there was a little bit of contact. He did get a penalty for it.
Yeah, he was perpendicular to the track, just sitting on that curb there. But with the line Nico took, it was just enough to give him that penalty. I mean, it wasn't much of contact, but it was contact nonetheless. And that's ZGS out of this race. That's going to bring a yellow flag. It's going to be close. I don't know. I don't think so either. I think we've just hit that point of no return where Burt Mylander calls it quits.
Essentially, Texas Speeches on Ray both have no penalties, so now he has to hold them off.
Yeah, so I jumped on board with the Texas Speech here. We did get a little bit of a view of ZGS's car, and that was just on the exit of turn 1. Putting maybe a little bit too much power on that car, losing the back end into the wall. I think we saw a similar. I think it was qualifying that we saw a similar accident right at the end of the session. But for ZGS, unfortunately, that's a lot of points left on the board there, very late in the race for him. But watching this battle here, Texas Speech buying his time a little bit here. He's getting close, but he's being patient with these overtakes. And I think he wants to get the overtake done. I'm sure he's aware of the implications given the 5-second penalty for Mitch Burns, who, to be fair, has already built a 2.5-second gap. And with 2 laps to go just about, if he can just keep pushing, and if these two, Ray and Texas Speech, keep battling, I mean, he might be able to do it here, Mitch Burns, and build that 5-second gap. It's going to be close, but we'll have to keep an eye out on it here, as so this race is coming to a conclusion soon here, sooner rather than later, it seems. Now, Spool and Dub, though, chasing Pork Chops. Maida getting ahead of Humble Hippo on track as well, a little bit further behind. I'm just gonna quickly here. Let's go back to Texas Speech as they're heading into turn 1, starting the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix here. That gap between Ray and Mitch Burns has stayed comfortably around 2.5 seconds. So for Mitch Burns, if he wants that race win, he's gonna have to start pushing a little bit more. Meanwhile, Ray, he's doing exactly what he has to do. He and Texas Speech just keeping that gap close, keeping that gap consistent, and just trying to stay within that 5-second window. Meanwhile, Spool and Dub and Pork Chops. Pork Chops seems to be the center of attention here on track at Suzuka. Just everywhere I look for a battle, Pork is involved. Yep. And this doesn't look like it's changed. Ooh, a very slow line through that corner. Spool and Dub taking a much quicker line, and that was a very easy overtake for Spool and Dub just before the hairpin corner, and he will hang on to that P5. Meanwhile, Pork is going to be chasing back, but I think trying to stay on these tires till the end of the race. It was a good call. I mean, I understand why he's doing it here, but I think just the pace is starting to fall off here. I mean, at the worst possible time here, with about, what was 3 to 4 laps to go to the end of the Grand Prix.
Texas Speech took a look going into that final chicane.
Had just switched over at it. Yeah, just switched over in time to catch that look. I think that's a moment happened near the back of the grid. I'll take a look at that in just a bit, because here comes Texas Speech going into turn 1. He's got the inside line. Here we go, side by side through the corner, drag racing to the first of the S's. Ray hanging on to that P2, but very crucially here, they want that position, but the gap now between Ray and Mitch Burns, 4.5 seconds. So Mitch Burns only has to build half a second more.
Come on, Ray.
So I mean, it's hard to ask two drivers who are just in the heat of the moment trying to go for the overtakes to work together here. But if they want the greater interest of the cause, it might not be a bad idea. But I think they're a little bit too focused on that battle. Oh, I think Mitch Burns he finds the jets where he needed it, but he had a little bit of
way wide.
You had some traffic there, side by side now. Array and Texas Speeches, they're trying to battle it out here, heading into Spoon. They're still side by side. Who is going to get the position? Looks like it's Ray for now, but that gap is just over 5 seconds now as Mitch Burns clears the lapped car, clears the traffic of Shelley, and as long as he keeps it under control, it's his race to lose here with only a few corners to go. But here we see Texas Speech. He's going to go for it. Oh, there's contact, and they're both spun around. Controversy here on the final lap as now Danny Nico coming through 130R. This is going to be close. Oh my goodness, final destination here in a half as they're all trying to get through. Oh my goodness. I almost lost my breath there as Pork nearly got taken up by Ray. But Mitch Burns gets the victory. Nico finds himself in P... Oh, he's falling down the order. Spool and Dub in P2. Texas Speech rounds out the podium, and oh, come on! Pork Chop's just outside of the podium in P4. You've got to be kidding me. Oh my goodness.
I'm telling you. We were talking the other day, and if Mitch were having a collapse and he wins a championship without a podium, I was like, that'd be hilarious.
At this point, I feel like he's doing it on purpose. I mean, 3.5 tenths of a second behind Texas Speech. Come on, Pork. You can get that. You can get that. But no, in all seriousness, no, before the Division 3 drivers think I'm showing bias here, I mean, what a race that was. I mean, crazy scenes there. I'll say the final lap, but I mean, just the final sector 3 of the race. I think, oh my goodness, just going for it there, and I mean, I don't blame him. You went for the move on Ray, but unfortunately, just not the spot to do it. I think maybe just should have stayed a little bit more patient, go into the final chicane. But I mean, it created a hectic finish there. But for Mitch Burns, he gets maybe not the way he was thinking of getting the victory here, but he finds the top step of the podium, and he essentially extends his lead in the Drivers' Championship here with that victory there for the Red Bull team.
Yeah, definitely. Mitch did message me if we're doing interviews. He won't be available, so.
All right, that's
if we're gonna do it, I say we bring 2, 3, and 4.
Oh yeah, let's we can bring 2, 3, and 4 here, and that's not a problem. I think I mean
I have all of them, so I can invite them.
Yeah, so it might be a little bit quicker if you want to send the invites in. In the meantime, though, I'll go through the grid one last time. So it is going to be Mitch Burns from P4. Finds a way to get it done, pulling off the zero-stop strategy for the victory here on track. Spool and Dub, P2, and Texas Speech rounding out the podium there. So Red Bull, Ferrari, Mercedes on the podium. Pork Chops just outside in P4. D&E Nico rounding out the top 5 here from 14th on the grid up to P5. Fantastic drive from him. And Ray, I mean, still P6 after starting in 17th, so it remains what could have been, but still a great race from him. A Wild Meta, Evil Prime, Tim Lee, Humble Hippo rounding out the top 10. Unholy Red Eye, K-Dog, Capital 58, J-Stee, Kaz rounding out the top 15, with Racing Ginger, Disgruntled Muppet, Shelly the Turtle rounding out the top 18 with the finishing drivers. ZGS and Dead Text Message, the 2 drivers to crash out there. A little unfortunate for them as points are left on the table there. But we've got some of our podium interviews, or quote unquote podium interviews, already jumping in here. So Monkey Mafia, do you want to kick off the questions here for us?
Who we starting with?
Take your pick.
All right,
yeah,
we'll
sure.
start with Texas Speed. Good battle there. Question for you: were you running high downforce? Seemed like you didn't have quite the straight speed, but you had a lot more in the corners for everybody. Definitely. It was a good drive from you. You took that pit stop there on the second or third safety car and just stuck your head down and good battle back up there to get your P2. So congrats on that.
Yeah, and I mean since I've got you here, I did want to ask with that incident with Ray going into 130 hour on the final lap. Were you just trying to go for the overtake, knowing it's the final lap, sort of knowing the implications with the points, with the podium at all? Was that just an attempt to go for it that just didn't quite work out, or was it just a little bit of a miscalculation on your end there with that? All right. I mean, but still a great finish for you on the podium, P3. It's a solid haul of points for you. So I mean, unless Mike Mafia, you got any questions? I just got to say congratulations on the fantastic drive here and the podium.
Definitely. I don't have anything else. Congrats.
Perfect. All right. So I think next up we'll head over to Pork Chops, who just missed out on the podium once again, but a fantastic drive from P8 up to P4, and honestly, center of attention here for the race in Suzuka. Everywhere I looked, battles on track, and Pork, you just seem to be involved with every single one of them. But I'm gonna keep it general here. Talk us through, what were your thoughts here after that race?
When I spun, I thought my race was absolutely over. I felt that they were just going to run away from me. And then the safety cars kind of helped everything out. I wanted to pit on that first safety car, but Dead Text was right in front of me and he dove into the pits just before I did. So I said, screw this, I'm just going to stay out. And I ran pit stop free the entire race and just got lucky.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out well for you. I did notice about maybe 3-4 laps to the end, it almost seemed like the pace was starting to fall off a little bit. Did you feel like the cliff was finally hit with those wet tires, or was it just sort of the how do I say this? I don't want to say the exhaustion, but just the focus just starting to get to you a little bit at the end of the race?
I would definitely say the tires at that point, they were just so worn. Because I think on that last safety car I checked and I had close to 30% wear. So right there at the end, they had to have been in the 40s. And at that percentage, you're losing grip like crazy. And in the rain, it's impossible.
All right. Now, I mean, my last question here, and it's, something the Monkey Mafia mentioned, that you're P2 in the championship, have yet to have a podium, just missed out on the podium here today. Are you doing it on purpose?
I wish I could say I was, but no, consistency. Just go out there, finish races, happen to stay in the top 10. It shows in the point standings.
Yep, there we go. I mean, the Monkey Mafia, anything to add to that at all?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you and I talk about it all the time about the consistency of it, and that's the biggest key, especially in this game with the way the curves are. It's all about being consistent, and that's what you've been. And if Mitch would ever have a problem, you're going to jump right up there. So, the real question: do you think you'll get your podium?
Yes.
Or what track do you think you'll get your podium?
I don't want to jinx myself, but I think Singapore.
Nice. Yeah, you've done well there. Like we talked, you've had a couple situations that hasn't been your fault, but yeah, when you spun, I was telling you just keep going. That was the key. We all knew there was going to be safety cars, so it was good to see you keep going and get that finish. Really fighting for you to get the podium, but you didn't. But on to next week, and you're actually is D1 off next week, so you guys are actually at Singapore next week, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, congrats on the P4, and we got you in here. Spoolin won't be able to make it. He said his headset died, so.
Okay, cool. Well, I just want to say congrats on Mitch's win, and as soon as I saw that second penalty that he had, I was trying to keep it within 5 to at least overtake him penalty-wise, but no, he drove a great race, and hats off to him.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great race to watch, and happy to see the S's only got you once.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Yep, I think that's all I got as well. So I think we've just hit the point where we're about ready to wrap up the stream. So any closing remarks, the Monkey Mafia, before I jump over to the outro and the end of the stream here?
No, all I got. Make sure when you come to Japan next week for D2 commentary that you're doing a little rain fun dance. We want to make sure we have some rain for us next week. I was a little jealous of that, so make sure you bring that with you.
I'll do my best, but I think as I'm gonna go through the closing here, what a race that was here for the Japanese Grand Prix. Honestly, I had a blast watching this race. I mean, I hope everybody at home had as much fun watching it as I did commentating it. Of course, Division 3 next week they're gonna be in Singapore. So Pork, you got a week to prepare. We're looking forward to it here. For myself, though, I actually think I'm going to be calming Division 4 next week. Who are going to be? Well, let me actually take a look here. Yes, I will be calming Division 4, but we'll also be at Singapore. So I'll also be commentating a Singapore race. Division 2 will be here in Suzuka. So those watching at home who want some rain, do a little rain dance for Monkey Mafia there for next week. But I think that's all I've got here for you all today. So thank you so much for watching. Like I said, I hope you all enjoyed the race as much as I did here today. Up until next week, on behalf of the Monkey Mafia, myself, and everybody here at Midwest Formula One, thank you so much for watching, and have yourselves a fantastic evening.